socialism is completely contradictory to the founding of our country and what we were founded upon. We were founded upon personal liberty, to be able to pursue life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, to be able to pursue the virtuous life that we would choose to live for ourselves. And when you talk about socialism, you talk about more of your hard-earned money and more of your liberties being put into a pot and distributed by the government. And personally, the less that I can give the government to dictate over me, the better off we all are. Unfortunately, I think the new Democrat Party is selling itself as democratic socialists, trying to separate itself from straight up socialism, but they're socialists. I have my Democrat opponent, and the general is a proud socialist. She believes in wealth redistribution. She believes in universal health care. She also believes a few things about immigration. She believes that we should give illegal immigrants SNAP benefits. It's one of those things where you just believe that the taxpayer dollars are endless and the government should provide all these programs. And the problem with that is these people that are on these programs, you lose a lot of liberties being on these programs because you are now reliant upon the government to provide for you. And now they get to dictate what you buy. And sometimes they get to dictate where you live and where you go. Like with healthcare, our healthcare here in this country is not perfect by any means, but it is far better than any socialist nation that is relying on universal healthcare. Right now, there are times where people will wait for services and for things to be approved, and while they're waiting, they might die or get significantly worse. Anytime you look at a government that has been able to take over programs for the people, it does not benefit the people. It generally benefits the government and the amount of power that they get to hold. I have gone from seeing just talk of socialism here and there to it all of a sudden, I believe, exploding even outside of New York and Colorado, where we have seen more of them being elected to positions of authority. And come to find out, we have our own Democratic Socialists of America chapter here in mid-Missouri, of all places. And it's very disheartening to see people who are on board with the idea that the taxpayer and the government should provide for all. Like Margaret Thatcher said, the problem with that sort of idea is that you eventually run out of other people's money. And that's what would happen. And unfortunately, like I said, when you choose to hand over the things that you need in life to be provided by the government, you are also underneath their heel, and they get to determine where you go, where you live, what foods you can eat. I know there are a lot of people who were upset when they were talking about taking sweets and sodas and things like that off of the SNAP benefits. But there again, when you rely on a government program, the government gets to dictate what you buy with that money. That's part of your liberties that are being handed over to the government to deal with as they see fit. And to be honest, with some of the government programs, I have come to realize that the less we give the government to dictate, the better off we all are, because the government is not exactly run in an efficient manner. For example, I had a conversation with a constituent the other day. I got to meet her for coffee, which is one of my favorite things to do, by the way, with my constituents, is to sit and have coffee with them. We were talking about how the government has responded to natural disasters, the tornadoes that we saw in Franklin County. Usually the people stand up and do things for each other in a lot more efficient and quicker manner than the government, who requires all kinds of paperwork and control over the situation. So the more we can do for each other as a community and the less we involve the government, the better off we are. That is us keeping our liberties and our freedoms intact and keeping the government at bay so they're not lording over our lives and telling us how to live. It is very discouraging to see the growth of socialism here recently, and I'm really hoping that the people of Missouri can wake up and see that we are not a democracy like they like to tell us we are. Actually, democracy is nowhere in the U.S. Constitution. Actually, the word Republican is, though, to describe our form of government. So we are not a democracy. We are a republic, and we are that way to protect individual rights, to protect the minority from mob rule. And it is something that's worth fighting to keep.